You are sent back to the day the Titanic set sail with nothing but a third-class ticket and food, water, act. Your task is to stop the Titanic from sinking. How do you do this? Get the fucking binoculars. Wait until the day of sinking. Raid the watchtower. Knock out the watchman and ring in the iceberg. Right ahead. 2 minutes earlier. Wasn't this the plot of a 90s PC game? There was something about Serbia and Turkish baths and a notebook. I feel like him describing a dream. Pour custard into the sea. On a serious note, I wouldn't stop the Titanic from sinking as it led to major changes in safety on ships. So the actual Titanic sent a distress signal 25 minutes after it hit the iceberg at 11:40 am. So signal sent at 12:05 am. The Titanic then sunk at 2.20 and the RMS Carpathia was a massive ship that arrived first on the scene at 4 am, 1 hour 40 after the Titanic sunk, and saved people that were on lifeboats, but obviously many died in the sea. So what I would do is send a distress signal to RMS Carpathia. Except I would send the distress signal at 20:30, i.e. before the Titanic hit the iceberg. Then let the Titanic hit the iceberg, and then RMS Carpathia would arrive at roughly, which give or take is when the Titanic definitely knew she was sinking, and sent its original timeline distress signal, so the Titanic would definitely load its passengers on RMS Carpathia, giving them just under hours to do so before the Titanic sunk. So yeah, everyone saved, but major safety changes would have been made to ships going forward. And just for fun, I'd scroll, paint me like one of your French girls, so when future subs go down and film the Titanic, people will be like, WTF does that mean? But time travelers would understand the reference. I read a Choose Your Own Adventure Titanic book when I was younger. If I remember correctly, the early ending choice was to use your binoculars to point out the iceberg and to convince the captain to divert the ship. So that I wait. 3 minutes and 24 seconds before anticipated collision. I hand the string quartet 4 pages of sheet music and they play. The guests will hear, for the first time, My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. I tell them that their deaths will bring about the most beautiful song ever written. As confusion sets into the crowd, the song crescendos to the apex exactly as collision takes place. I survived because I pushed some bimbo off a floating door who wouldn't even share it with her boyfriend. I'd trade some of my food for a paper clip. I'd then trade the paper clip all the way up to a house. Once I had the house, I'd sell it and buy a shit ton of paper clips. I'd trade these up to houses and sell those houses to buy more paper clips. Eventually I'd have enough money to buy the Titanic. I'd order the captain to change course and save the ship. Then I'd sell the Titanic and buy a paper clip. Take a shed-load of muscle relaxants. Take a deep long breath. Shove the entire Titanic up my ass. If I remember correctly, they could have avoided the iceberg as they already knew about them. The radio crew of the Titanic was warned about the giant icebergs, but they failed to notify the bridge captain's area where they steer and handle operations of the ship about it. So I just grabbed their reports and let the captain and the bridge know about it sternly. https://www.history.com/news/Titanic on trial. Claim there's a bomb or a murder on the ship to prevent it from setting sail in the first place. First I would save the sexy first-class passenger from committing suicide, then I would draw said first-class passenger naked. After that we would have steamy hot sex in the back of someone else's wagon. Later that night I would go and speak to the captain dressed up as if I was a first-class passenger and bribe him with the drawing of the sexy first-class passenger and a sniff of my fingers to steer the ship south on our voyage. Boom. Disaster averted. I go back and find my sexy first-class passenger. We have sex all over the ship until we reach port in New York City. She finds out she's pregnant and we live happily ever after with a huge diamond necklace. The second officer, ranked just below the captain, for the ship was replaced right before the ship left the harbor. This was the guy with keys to the storage room where the binoculars were stored. So on the fateful evening the watch crew could only see as far as the naked eye would allow, hence not enough time to adjust course once they spotted the iceberg. So it'd get that second officer to hand off the keys to the next guy in charge. Also stay in London because you never know. Take back a DVD player and a TV and a copy of Titanic, and wow the captain with my magical technology from the future. Also, buy Bitcoin. Tell the captain someone had just lowered his thermostat on the mainland. If I had to stop the Titanic from killing all of those people, my first thought is to stop it from setting sail, i.e. setting a fire or even bomb the ship. I know it sounds drastic, but nobody with a third-class ticket had power to save it unless they take drastic measures. I want to see a movie based on the answers in this thread. Spray the hull with Flex Seal. I wouldn't be taken seriously as a woman, so instead, hoping we are in the film Titanic, go find Jack Dawson, get a lay, go stand near a lifeboat and use being a woman to my advantage and leave during the first evacuation. If I see the dude in charge, a quick "I told you so," as him being lowered down. With nothing but a third-class ticket, I am not allowed to board because I am naked. You have to get them to change course or slow way the fuck down at some point before impact. As a third-class passenger, the fastest and most surefire way to do this is 10 minutes before impact to chuck someone over the railing and call out a man overboard. The ship turns around for them, or at least takes all way off and drops a rescue boat, and the iceberg floats on by. If after all that and the ship gets back on course the iceberg is still in the way, at least the ship doesn't hit it at ludicrous speed. I refuse to accept the mission. Making such a major change to history could have profound unintended consequences. The timeline must be preserved. Do you want to get conquered by the board or something? Sink the ship closer to warmer waters. Fuck the ship. Save the people. Give them higher chances of survival by keeping it easy to reach and closer to shore for rescue. I sell my ticket and proceed to use my knowledge of the future to become filthy rich. I start my fortune by using the money I got from the ticket to bet that the Titanic will sink. Honestly, you'd probably be better off being on board the SS Californian. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/SS Californian. And getting the bridge crew to investigate all that commotion that they saw just a few miles away. Put it in rice. Bro, I'm just there to lay some good dick, jizz all over some rich dude's car and call it a day. If the etc. includes a pair of binoculars, I give them to the mate on watch. There were binoculars on the Titanic, but they were locked up and the only key was held by an officer who wasn't on the ship. Before I get sent back I will contract coronavirus. After stepping foot on the Titanic I start coughing on everything in sight. After 10 days the virus will have spread to damn near everyone, and due to the amount of people infected we have to head back to England. In the long run I will have probably killed myself and more people than the Titanic disaster, but at least I stopped it from sinking. Subscribe, like and comment if you hate outros, begging you to subscribe, like and comment.